I'm going up the bomber route, so you have light. You start you off in a light bomber, dive bomber, and this goes all the way up to heavy bombers. And then these are all the attack bombers or attack aircraft, tactical bombers. Some people call them. The Navy calls them strike aircraft, and the Army refers to them as attack aircraft. But they essentially do the same thing. These are more designed to shoot like tanks, anti-aircraft. They can bomb facilities too, but they're designed for low-level bombing. Come straight down at a target, like dive bombing. That's what these guys are designed for. So these you usually have one gunner in the back. It's a two-seater usually. These are usually bomber crews, and they usually have 2 to 5 crews. This is uh, your fighters, and fighters come in 3 varieties. You have like interceptors. You have the dogfighting type of fighter, and one that's sort of a combination of two. These are little tiny, little miniature fighters. And I'm going up the Soviet line, so the designations are more towards what the Soviets used in World War II. But they're all pretty cool. Like, here's where you start the interceptors. Interceptors are designed to hunt bombers. That's what they're for. Whereas dogfighters are more designed to defend airspace. That's what they're for. And the premium ones are all here, and those are for people that don't want to grind out aircraft. They can just start off with a premium thing and jump in, and so forth. And the same thing with the Navy stuff. The Navy, you start off in a little gunboat, and then you can go to different classes because you start off at like an ensign, and then lieutenant commander, and all the way up to a commander level. Like a commander in a Navy is going to be like you get up to like a cruiser, which are rank 4. See, and then within those ships, you can have better variants of those classes. So, and then helicopter's a new one. So to unlock helicopter aviation, because they get into the Korean and Vietnam era in the game. So you have to get any 2 aircraft trees up to rank 5, and that unlocks this one. Then you got to get any 2 tank ones, and that unlocks this one. And then on the Army side, you have light tanks, heavy tanks, and medium tanks, and self-propelled guns or artillery. So it's a pretty roundabout game. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Yeah, fighters can carry bombs to some extent. I think as you get closer to the Korean time of the war, fighters were taking on bigger roles because the bombing techniques got better. And so, but as you get towards the tail end of the Korean conflict in I want to say the middle part of Vietnam, because Vietnam started in 1947. But the Americans didn't heavily get involved until 1965. We were over there in the 50s as advisors, but the heavy fight didn't start till 65 for the Americans. But at that point, the war had been going on for 20 years. But the way the game is structured, when you start getting in those areas, you're starting to deal with guided missiles, surface-to-air missiles and stuff. So fighters had to take on a bigger role. And like with the F-4 Phantom and stuff, they had bombing missions as well as they could do strike missions or interceptor or dogfighting type role. Although early in Vietnam, they didn't put a cannon on the F-4 Phantom, so they were kind of a sitting duck in close-in air combat. and then so yeah, it's the way the game is structured. you have three major roles in the air combat in realistic. Think of the fighters as the main fighting unit. Their job is to go out there and get air superiority, own the sky. Whereas the strategic bomber's mission is to go out there and get extra points. You always have three targets, and when you destroy three targets, it unlocks the enemy base. So you can't bomb the enemy base until you unlock all three targets. Hopefully all those things happen simultaneously. And if the bombers knock out those things, the pilots get more. I don't know how much more, but they just get a bigger bonus. The bomber guy, on the other hand, that's how they get paid. So if you get knocked out going to the target or knocked out coming back from the target, you make more money. So it's beneficial to a bomber. You always are trying to bomb something. But tactical bombers are mainly there to attack tanks and anti-aircraft. Because the way this game is structured, there's a ground battle going on. And that's what the ABC thing is going on. So your side could, like, all your fighters could get shot down in the game and your bombers are still going. But if the people on the ground win the battle and you hold out as the last bomber, you can still win the battle. Because everything is there to assist the ground battle. Likewise, if you play in the ground war and you score enough points, you can respawn as a fighter. Because there's computer-controlled aircraft, but you can respawn as a human aircraft and come back and bomb targets in both the tank and naval battles. You can do that. It's pretty. There's a lot to learn in the game. I've only been playing since August, but I've been playing on the PlayStation, which is pretty cool, I think. It's been a lot of fun for me. The main thing you got to worry about is you got to get your people trained up. You got to get the planes developed, which you can pretty much do with one crew. Then once you get all these guys developed, you got to get your crew trained up. See that? And then that takes forever. And then, but each mission does that. And then the tank side's a little different in that army side, you can, because you can respawn in a battle. You can take your primary tank out, and if it gets destroyed, and if you earned enough points, you can bring back your reserve units. And so you're kind of training 2-3 tanks at a time, but you're training that crew, 2-3 different crews at a time. So the Navy is somewhat of a hybrid of the two systems, but it's a lot of fun. I think the Navy is a lot of fun, but they just added the British guys ships to the game, which I think is good because there are a lot more people playing the Navy side now. So instead of taking 300 minutes to get in a queue, it takes like 5-10 minutes. So yeah, it says there are maps that have crucial ground targets to stop or stop or destroy. 0 to do with bombing the base. Yeah, that's true. It depends. The Xbox and PS4 are pretty much the same, I think. And I haven't played the PC version, but I've seen it. I watched a lot of videos on the PC version. I don't really see too much variance other than the PC. You can add mods to the game, but I kind of like the Xbox and PS4 in that you can't do that. Everybody's got the same computer system, so it's kind of equal. So it really just depends on your internet connection at that point. Play on Xbox, so I've only been playing since. Yeah, well, the game is free for everybody, so one of the cool things is you can pay if you want to, so it just adds to the experience, which is cool, I think. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like the bombing stuff, the strategic bombing, because I feel it's relaxing and it's real smooth and you just fly in the aircraft. No real high stress. Fighters, I'm gonna go back and do that after I do the bombing stuff, because then I'll have more flight time in the game, I'll have better crews. Better ground crews that it'll be easier to develop the pilots at that point. Because I plan to train up one crew and then have them go through each tree and train up on all the different planes. And then when I train the second and third crews, I won't have to worry about wasting money developing aircraft. So it'll be easier to train those crews up, I think. Won't be as expensive the second and third go around. So I started training up on the American bombers because I kind of wanted to see the difference, but I've been training up this crew. But with the American side, they start you off in one of these two reserve planes. And so I gotta use this plane to unlock the American bombers, which are on this side. But they start you off in naval planes. Kind of cool, and then they're a little bit boxier, but you kind of work your way to the B-29, which is an awesome bomber. One of these B-29s, B-57s were really cool. Those are a Korean, early Vietnam bomber right there. But the B-29, that carries so much ammunition, bomb load-wise. 2,500 pound bombs. You only need two. You need 2,000 pounds to destroy, actually 1,800 kilograms of bombs to destroy a ground target. It only takes 100 kilograms to destroy 6 tanks. So if he dropped like his full load, he could just drop a 100-pound bomb all day and just knock out tanks and never have to land. It's pretty awesome. The Soviets have their own version of that, which is it's basically a copy of the B-29, which is the Tu-4. That's what I'm working towards. The Tu-4 was a copy of the Boeing plane, and it's the Soviet version of that. It's a pretty good plane too. Yeah, I love training, which that when you look at the internet, there's not a lot on really. Most of the gameplay on the internet's all arcade. I've been looking to put some videos together for strategic bombing. I wish we could coordinate better in realistic mode, but I think what'll happen is once I get my planes developed and my crews developed, then I can play the different scenarios. Because if you go in the game here and go under community battles here, you can do custom battles, and people have developed their own campaigns, and then you can go play with squadrons out there and fly like realistic simulator modes. So, but I'm kind of training up to that. I'm not up to that stage. I've only been playing since August, so I'm still paying my dues. Imagine by the time I get to a really good crew, I'd have like hundreds of hours playing. If you want to see that, you go up to your stats here, and they tell you your service record. So, like at this point, I've been in 174 victories. I've finished 416 missions. I've done 497 sessions. I've done 12 hours and 18 minutes in a fighter, 2 days and 9 hours in a bomber, 10 hours and 13 minutes in attack aircraft, 7 hours and 27 minutes in tanks, and I've done 3 hours and 22 minutes in a motor torpedo boat. So all my experience right now is in 48 hours and 2 days and 9 hours in bomber. So I have a lot of experience in the bomber. There's still a lot to learn. But you look at your service record. So the PE2 has just passed the I-15. The I-15 was my #1 ranked plane for a long time. But he's now had 17 victories, which is pretty good. The SB2M100. I like that plane a lot. That was a really good plane. For a starter plane, it was really good. And then PE231's way down there. But YER isn't even on the scale there. There's a YER 2M. It's been in 10 victories. So that's good. See, page 2. So, yeah, it's been pretty good, I think. This plane is slowly moving up, which I think is good. So, myself, I just wanted to focus my training in just bombers, and once I complete that, then slowly going through tactical bombers too, because it's kind of a different style. Because even as a tactical bomber, you're not really a dogfighter, but you can end up in dogfights that close to the enemy area. So, and then I think if you get a lot of experience in that with aircraft, then when you get into the fighter plane, you'll have a lot of flying time, and you'll know a lot about the maps, the areas, and all the things. So I think it'll just make you a better fighter pilot at that point. That's my theory. Yeah. I can't wait for it. I would like to fly like missions like I would like to fly a campaign where you fly out of England, like as the U.S. 8th Air Force. Fly over the English Channel, form up a bomber crew, fly all the way down into Berlin, bomb it, fly all the way back. That would be so cool. You know, I mean, yeah, I would love that. So you have the experience of actually flying there and flying back. Take a couple hours, like all day to do, but it would be a pretty awesome mission. That's part of the thing about flying a B-29 is in World War II, they flew off of islands over Japan, so they had to fly 2,500 miles to the target, drop a bomb, and then turn around and fly all the way back to the bases in what was it? It's Guam. They flew out of Guam, right? The B-52 pilot in Vietnam, they flew out of Guam. They had to fly 12 hours to the target, 12 hours back. And they had to refuel, 4 times? Getting in the air, they had to refuel. Then once it got over nearer the target area, they had to fuel again. Then the insertion into the target, back out, fuel again, fly all the way back to Guam. I don't think they fueled again before they land, but they probably did just to make sure to have enough fuel. Get to land, and then land the plane. It's a huge mission. So, yeah, we're gonna switch to World of Warcraft now. Go ahead and switch that up. I'll be right back. back to the Agamemnon game review. We're switching back out. Reconfiguring for World of Warcraft, which requires us to switch out from the PS4 back to the laptop. So, bit of a procedure to it. This will be the last game that we're going to play today. We played yesterday on our alt, which was we used our Shadow Priest, which I just rolled up. But I primarily play Warlock, as most people know. So we'll be using my Battle for Azeroth Warlock. My main Warlock is on the Dalaran server, and my BFA character is on Moonguard. They're both Warlocks. Been pretty much playing Warlock since the game launched, 2005. It's one of the monks I made yesterday. There's a Lochum on us. Go ahead and break up the desktop. Everything looks good. It says we're green lights. It's a 20-second delay. Using 12% of the CPU and only dropped 24 frames. It sounds okay. You hear what it sounds like? I hear the music playing, so that's good. Sound check. There's a Dalaran server. This is actually my main character here.